Their goal is to bring you a podcast that sounds more like everyone else
What are we talking about again?
than anyone else.
We need to accept the fact that we are like every other podcast.
Yeah, we want to be special, but we're not quite there yet.
It's the Zennial Odyssey podcast with Remy and Bobby Rox.
Man. That's going to be the theme of today's shows, guys.
So if anybody gets that reference, that's what we're talking about on this episode today, everybody. We're talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, when we did the episode about how TV changed in our young adulthood, we did talk about how HBO changed the game and basic cable was the first wave that kind of stepped up and answered to it, like Fox created FX. And in the mid 2000s, they took a chance on a TV show that was pitched to them by
Glenn Howerton,
Rob
McElhaney,
Charlie Day. And that show was It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And I'll tell you, man, the pilot isn't that funny.
No. And so
I don't know how they got the show.
Jumping off point is for anyone who doesn't know, they have It's Always Sunny podcast.
Well, wait.
And I just want to say because they actually are talking about what they do. Here's the format. They watch the episodes and they start at season 1 moving on. And then they talk about behind the scenes things and they talk about their impressions of it. And they agree with you, Rem. They agree with you that it's like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Like, cringeworthy. They even use the words cringeworthy.
But FX saw something and it developed into one of the greatest sitcoms ever.
Yeah. I know in the television episode, we talked about the freedoms that premium cable networks had in character development.
Wait, but you keep doing that. I'm going to forget to say this. Listen, guys, the first thing we have to say is it's a very polarizing show. We're going to be talking about some fucked up shit, okay? I just need you guys to know that the beauty of It's Always Sunny is that they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and as long as you realize it's satire, then it should soften the blow.
Some people are still so self-righteous.
People are fucking stupid, so what do you want? I'll say it. I don't care. But back to the thing. So I believe they met because they were all like auditioning for the same TV shows.
Yeah.
And
let's just make our own.
Yeah. And basically, I think Charlie Day and Glenn Howerton were interviewing for that 80s show.
Glenn Howerton got it.
And Glenn Howerton got it, and Charlie Day didn't. And then on their podcast, they talk about like how they were hanging out together, and their agents called them, and that's pretty funny. But
they're genuine friends.
But Charlie Day had met Rob before in New York, and they had done things there. And Rob initially saw his career kind of like as an actor wasn't really going anywhere, and so he just wanted to write.
Yeah.
And then Charlie Day and one of his friends were doing shorts, and Glenn and Rob, they all kind of met up in New York when they were doing certain things. And then they met up in LA too. And so Rob kind of pitched to them that he wanted to write. And then they were all sitting around watching these shorts that Charlie Day and his friend did. And they thought it was hilarious. And, that was the premise for It's Always Sunny's format.
Just inane shit.
Yeah. And that is how mind blowing is that Rob never envisioned being Mac. He never envisioned being like on screen.
Well, don't forget, even what's her face? Sweet D was a different actress. Like there was
Caitlin Olsen.
Yeah, it was close to not being the show that it was.
I know.
And don't forget, too, guys. Like people forget this. Listen, Danny DeVito had nothing to do with the show.
Yeah. And we're going to go into that because and then we'll spend a segment on just some of the highlights about that show and the greatness of that.
But the irreverence of the inventions.
But I did want to lay the foundation of just kind of where it started. Speaking of Danny DeVito, I mean, they even admit that their ratings were atrocious in that first season, and FX still wanted to take a chance with them and said, well, maybe if you bring on a bigger name person. And so do you know who the first person that they wanted on there was to play Frank?
No.
Ray Liotta.
Moment of silence.
I know. Moment of silence for Ray Liotta. May he rest in peace.
You know, it's fucked up, but as soon as you said it, I can see it.
Yep.
Now, DeVito kills it. God bless you. I couldn't see Ray Liotta slipping naked out of a couch. so you know what? Fate intervened, but I could see him as like a cranky, scary dude. But you know what? Frank isn't scary, and he's unstable, but Ray would have been scary as Frank.
Yeah. You're right.
Like the sleeping with Charlie thing wouldn't be as cute.
And originally, Danny DeVito said he could only commit to them for recording purposes for 20 days. And then...
It was magic.
And then after he realized, like, these guys, and he worked with them, them, he was like, oh, okay. So then he committed more. But yeah, magically, shockingly, Danny DeVito, the Danny DeVito effect and what that did for the show.
Dude,
thank you, Danny DeVito.
Frank Reynolds.
Yes.
And I just started blasting.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I just started blasting. Yeah, we could go on and on. But I think we can take a break. Maybe I'll find some music that is paying homage to It's Always Sunny, because that's one of my favorite things.
Play the night, man.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So for anyone who doesn't know, like, that's one of the great things about that show is that the music is just because
Charlie's a genius with that shit.
It's not like the opening music and the segue music, like that
classic sitcom.
It has nothing to do with like what you're about to witness.
No, they said they did that on purpose too. It's just the idea of like a classic, like those 70s sitcoms that had no lyrics.
And it puts a smile on my face when I hear it. It's similar to Curb Your Enthusiasm. When I hear that music, it puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I know that I know what greatness is coming. But yeah, it's a good jump off point. We'll listen to some music and then we'll come back and we'll just build off this foundation.
We're going to make a milk steak too.
Yeah. Ooh.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Or rum ham, but I don't think we have enough ingredients for
no matter
rum
what,
ham.
it's going to be served with limoncello. Yeah, that's how you know. So until we come back, everybody, welcome for joining us on the Odyssey.
It's Always Sunny on the Zillennial Podcast.
Oh. Welcome back, everybody. All right, let's pick up where we left off. Okay, so they get Danny DeVito. They start to build on Dee's character because she really was by their own admission, she's a reactionary character.
Yeah.
But then they started to build like what she was going to be. You know what I mean? They started to build.
Sorry, I saw people get scared.
It's fine. It's fine. It's family. It's family.
I figured your family was at your house.
All right.
Yeah, no, and the D dynamic, watching that evolve, has been remarkable because she's kind of like, I hate to say it, but I think that they thought initially they just wanted a token female.
Yep.
Obviously, what's her name?
Denise. Her real name or Sweet D?
Her real name.
Denise. Oh, Caitlin Olsen?
I know what her Sweet Denise. Caitlin Olsen, yeah.
Okay, Caitlin Olsen plays Denise Reynolds, also known as Sweet D.
She just injects so much personality. I mean, some of my favorite moments on the show are with her, like the moment when her and Charlie are all roided out at the table eating, kills me. Yeah. When she ran into that van and like legitimately broke the side of the van because she hit the car because she hit it so hard with her head. Like, she commits. She's a physical comedian, and she brings such a nice dynamic.
Yes, she does. And what I love is that as the show itself has progressed, the character development it's phenomenal.
Yeah, we got to talk about letting Mac become.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because that season, I think that's season 13.
Yeah,
Mac finds his pride. The closer for season 13.
Is that the dance?
Yeah,
bro, it's one of those powerful. And Frank Reynolds is like, I get it.
Yeah. I don't care what people's thinking about It's Always Sunny as far as all that. That episode up there, just
period.
It upped them. So did the second beer challenge on the plane. That one did too. Though those two episodes just it showed.
Well, no, let's be honest too. The black musical. What does it mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
No, but let's
The
go.
Nightman
Okay. When Mac came out and Frank's watching the dance, bro, the show literally is like, you thought we were doing one thing.
Yep.
And we're not doing it.
Yep.
And we're treating this character with gravitas. We're going to make this one of the most beautiful coming out in all of television
And it was set to
history.
Sigur Rós.
Yeah.
Varu.
Oh, bro.
Varu, it's a beautiful, beautiful song.
Dude, it's like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. So everyone have thought like this show's just wrong and twisted.
Yep.
It's like, how about we make you cry? How about we make this character who we made gay as a punchline? Why don't we not make it a punchline anymore? And how about we just make it so all the characters accept it?
So I want to give everyone some background if you don't really know it that well. This was Mac for the whole show. He was the bouncer and he was like the ultimate bro.
Ripping his sleeves
And
off.
yeah, and he wanted to compete with Dennis for
wanted
like
to
the
be-
women, but he really wanted to get.
He wanted to be
Dennis.
Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse.
Yeah, exactly. So then he starts to progress and he starts to kind of feel himself more, and then he ultimately comes out
Slowly, though.
very, very,
amazingly
very
slowly. Like we knew early on because he's like, "Yeah, I sucked that guy off," and you're like, "Wait, what?" And then they don't mention it again. But he starts, like you said, it's this gradual thing where, like, what I love about it is you think this group's ignorant, and they're like trying to encourage him just being gay.
They're the ones kind of being like,
They're
Mac,
like,
you're
dude,
gay.
you're super gay.
You're gay, and we want you to know we're cool with it. Like,
Yeah, so it's really handled with tact.
yeah. And so by Mac finds his pride, that final episode of season 13. I want to give everyone so I've given you the background on Mac though. So in this episode, the underlying theme is that he really doesn't feel comfortable with who he is. So he's still trying to find who he is. And then you have the gang trying to get in the gay pride parade of Philadelphia.
Yep.
And they're just trying to exploit him at that point. And then you have Frank, who's having side conversations with Mac, and he's telling him he's never gotten him, and that's why they don't really have a
Connect
relationship.
fully, yeah.
They don't connect. And then he tries to help him go to tell his dad, who's in prison, that he's gay. And he can't find the way to do it. So then his dad gets out of it that he got a girl pregnant. So then
It gets totally inverted.
yeah. So then Frank's like trying to help him impregnate a woman, and then he has second thoughts, and then he goes to his apartment and he sees a woman walking out, and then he's just like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like all this stuff, and so finally it culminates with them going to see his dad in prison, and they get all like the prison together, and they're sitting there as an audience, and Frank is in the audience, and Mac puts on this performance.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Set to Sigur Rós, beautiful band. If everyone should check out Sigur Rós.
They have their own language.
But essentially what it is it's a set to like artistic dance that he's not comfortable being an openly gay man, and it's the cross he has to bear. Because he's also a very religious person.
Too religious. Which obviously contradicts the...
And the dancer, the female dancer, is the representation of who he really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're sitting there trying to like let him know it's fine. It's all good.
They're like back and forth.
And then at one point, there's a break in the performance where he turns to his father and he's looking for approval. And his father just stands up, walks out, doesn't say anything. He's devastated. And then the dancer comes over and they're standing over him. And it's almost like is this like the internal him going to destroy him?
himself? Yeah.
And no, they pick him up and they embrace him. And it's like basically letting him know, like, no, it's okay. And it's basically his internal self embracing his external, like,
and it's like a 7-minute dance or
Yeah.
something crazy.
yeah.
It's beautiful though.
And the beautiful thing about it is literally at the end, the female dancer is embracing him, saying, "It's okay," whispering, "It's okay." And then it zooms in. It zooms in on Frank's face, and Frank is like crying. He's crying, and he says,
Look at that,
I get it.
goosebumps.
He says, "I get it."
like they frame it
I get it.
close, and he's like
Yeah.
whispering it to himself, and he's watching with these wide, teary eyes. And yeah, I'm covered in goosebumps right
Yeah.
now. Like, and that's what the show does now and then.
Yeah.
Is you think you're getting a show, and it's like, listen, man, we're dealing with Charlie's abuse. What about Charlie's abuse?
Yep. Yeah.
Bro, like, yeah, it's a punchline, but like, it's not, because this whole thing is about him being like, this is not okay.
Yeah, and can we be? My favorite episode is The Nightman Cometh, and that's about
Same thing. It's a musical number about.
It's like his Uncle Jack coming into his room at night and like molesting him.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like, you understand right there, it's like another character that they help come to grips with their trauma through dance and
Yep.
music. Like, bro, I hate that some people are like, oh, that show's just too like mean. No, here's the thing, it's dumb.
Yeah.
And it admits that it's dumb, but then those moments when it hits hard, dude, it hits hard. They
Yeah.
don't do it often, but when they do it, man, you will be in tears.
The way, and yeah, they address taboo subjects And they do it in a way that's just it's
Dumpster babies.
Yeah, it's so fantastic. They have so many characters. By the way, did you know who was originally supposed to? So his name wasn't Mac. His original name was Rob. That character.
Yeah.
Do you know who was supposed to play him?
No.
Cricket.
Oh, Cricket is
And
Cricket.
is, yeah. You want to talk about just the progression of someone like from the opposite angle? Their character.
Bro, man, but they obviously had that arc in mind for him, which is crazy. What about the McPoyles are my favorite, hands down, hands down. When he yells, when he does scream, and you see the bloopers.
He's dead. He's dead.
He's dead. And you see the bloopers, dude, and they can't stand scenes with him.
Yeah,
him and
so good.
Yeah, him, Rickety Cricket.
My favorite outtakes, by the way, are the Cricket. My favorite,
without a doubt.
My favorite one is when they're trying to
the red crayon. That's my favorite. The dog dick.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, yeah. Well, they're taking me. I'm going with them.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I've tried to find that
There's
YouTube
dicks,
clip.
dog dicks everywhere.
Yeah. But my favorite is when they're trying to their crazy friend comes,
and they're trying to make him crazy.
Yeah, yeah. They're trying to make him crazy again. Crazy Eddie or crazy? No.
They talk about it the whole time. Oh, he's like the craziest, but he's just the only one that's grown up.
Yeah, yeah. And so they get Cricket to be a priest and basically go into the bathroom and speak to him through a glory hole. But the whole lead up to it is just like, all right, you're going to speak a lot of Latin to him. He's like, yeah, that's right. I'll fake it. And they're like, you don't know your Latin anymore? And he's just like, listen, fellas, I can sell anything, okay? You know how many times I had to sell things on the street? Do you know how many times I had to fake orgasms?
When he's sucking lemons, bro.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
see, now we got to make sure this doesn't just derail into two fanboys making references. Okay, so the point is like the thing that makes It's Always Sunny so remarkable, I think, and the reason we wanted to talk about it so extensively is because it shouldn't exist in the modern landscape of cancelizations and things being seen as like because here's the thing, nothing is safe on that show, and that's what makes it work, though.
And it's also, and I think rightfully so, it's a reflection of us.
Oh, a society on its way down. Yeah,
yeah. It's trying to say, hey, this is all of us. We're just taking it over the top.
What about Dennis as totally slowly being outed as a serial Justin Bateman?
Yeah.
From Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
Oh yeah, the high school reunion,
bro.
It's just tools. I need tools.
You've seen that blooper too. They all died at that scene.
Yeah.
But the implication
just
system,
finish shit,
dude. The implication,
or the Dennis method.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
We put it this way. We have a friend who's like, I Dennis. I'll tell you after, but he's like, I Dennis systemed my wife. Oh, and I'm like, yeah, don't say that out loud. Yeah, I know it's messed up, but here's the thing: is like, so see, I can't really.
Can we talk about what the basic premise of an episode is?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so the basic premise of a typical It's Always
Sunny, gang.
Yeah, it's not just the gang, but even like the bit characters. Like somebody is trying to do something, and then they all kind of get along with it, and then they don't like it because they're all narcissists, and then they just turn it into
or they get bored with it.
Yeah. They get bored with it. They make it their own thing, and they just completely destroy what it is. For example, the Kitten Mittens episode.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like Charlie decides, hey, I want to make kitten mittens for cats.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the gang just like, they try to jump on it.
Yeah.
Or they try to replicate it with like the gunshots.
Well, that's the thing. I did an article that was all the inventions of It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
That's its own thing. Once every couple of seasons, they throw something at you. Fight milk.
And that had real MMA guys in it.
The show. UFC. Well, that's the thing. The show is.
I just love that they loved it so much because it helped them cut weight. They didn't like it because they thought it was good.
Yeah, it just made them shit and cut weight for fights. Yeah. But it's a show that shouldn't have the right to exist and be as politically incorrect as it is, but no one stops it. And that's what makes it, honestly, such a work of art.
Yes. I agree with that.
And the thing is, you can't take away. It's really hard to pick a favorite because everybody gets their emphasis moments.
Everybody gets their moment where they're...
Or what about the fact that Charlie, his real wife in real life...
The waitress.
Yeah, he plays it like he just pines for her endlessly. Yep. She pines for his best friend. Like, it's nuts. Because that's a real dynamic.
But then how about he finally gets the waitress and he's like, like he's been spending 10 seasons trying to get her, and then he's like,
What about the season where he had Alexandra Daddario like genuinely into him? Remember they thought they were getting ployed?
Yeah.
And he like blew it with one of the most beautiful women on
earth. And
he
actually just was using her to get
to the waitress. But I think that's funny because at the end of the day, they go home together. Like, but the whole dynamic on the show is that he worships her. Yeah.
I know. And that's one of my favorites too, is that he created the Nightman Cometh just to marry the waitress.
Everything in the first 5 seasons is for her.
Yeah. It's just like, and he's got that whole part where he didn't tell everybody about, he's coming down in the yellow suit with the sun, like, oh, won't you come on stage and join me? A thing called matrimony. Like, come on. Like,
and Charlie, the truth is, like, he's really musician and improvs a ton of that shit.
Yep.
They just, like, a lot of the stuff you think he's improving in the episode, he's really improving in front of the cast.
how about the fact that I think a lot of people, the first time they watched it through, didn't realize they were really setting the stage for the Nightman Cometh.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like when he's like doing his like Bob Dylan kind of Nightman, sneaky clean. And then they're just like, they're like Max, like, I love the music, but I really have to talk about the lyrics, like, because it basically sounds like a guy's coming in and ripping you.
Well, but here again, it's a trauma for Charlie, and he works through it, which is so interesting, you know. But yet, but he can never get the uncle out of his life, which is terrible. But it's
Jack Kelly,
because his mom is just. I'm sorry, man. Like, his mom, in my opinion, is not an inaccurate representation of boomer moms at all.
No, it's pretty accurate.
They'll have you sleep over the weird uncles, and you'll be like, he's weird. And they're like, he's just colorful. I know for me, the one that when I knew it was one of the funniest shows ever was definitely the steroid episode.
Yeah.
Like, I liked it up to that point, but I remember being in tears, and they're like raging while they're eating.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're remarkable. I hope they know, how do I put this? It hasn't gotten bad. And I wouldn't expect it to, but I hope they can avoid that.
So one thing, it's a good thing you brought that up, Rem, because on their podcast, one thing that they talked about is they have this woman, Megan, who produces the podcast, but she also helps them out with the show itself. Yeah. And Rob was talking about how he pitched an idea. Glenn and Charlie were like, I think they were recording movies, or they were doing other things. They were just out of town for the time. Yeah. And Rob is pitching show ideas, and everyone's laughing. And he talked about how Megan didn't laugh. And so he said, like, oh, you didn't find it funny? And she's like, well, I mean, now you see what it's like when you have a group of writers who you're paying. So there's things like that go on and humbles them. But they said when they're together, they humble each other. Where it's just like, no. Like, well, it would be better like this, or it would be better like this. And they're past the point where they get offended when it's like that.
Because you're all working at the same greater good.
Right.
If you're all working toward the same thing, you know?
Yep.
And I would argue, you know, if you want to like the cast of that show, sit down for 2 hours and watch all their bloopers. A lot of the bits they cut are funnier than what makes the show, just because they can't run it because they're all dying laughing. Yep. The amount of time, and that's how you can tell the mutual respect for each other. Because here's the thing. I've done a few improv troupes. They suck, and I'm going to tell you why they suck and why I don't do them anymore. Every comedian in an improv group wants to be the Jim Carrey. They all want a fucking star. So instead of letting you, if you have a funny moment with the crowd, what a shitty improv guy's going to do is try to come in and take the joke over. They're going to try to come in and jump on it, and they're going to push you out of the joke, and they're going to be getting cheered for.
Whereas for them, it's more organic.
It's 100%. They just say shit, and then you can tell if they're going to keep something by how hard they laugh at it.
Do you know what my favorite outtake?
That's hard. Let me think for a second.
No, of something they kept in.
Yes, I bet you I do. Because you asked me and then you were going to fucking answer. What is that? Why did you do that?
Rhetorical.
That was terrible. No,
I should have said rhetorical.
Yeah, well, you didn't, so I'm going to answer you. I think the best blooper of that show, because it ended up on the show, is the private door that Charlie thinks there's a pirate in because he can't read. Because you can tell Charlie made that up on the spot. He's like, you see that door over there?
Oh, it says pirate.
It says pirate. He's like, and the way they always straight man corrects Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie, it says private. But like, I'm sorry, for me, that's one of them because it's such a simple, stupid ass joke, but it hits so hard. Like, my ideal thing, this is the honest to goodness truth that I would hope they would do, is they cut off soon because they're great. Not an insult, because they're great. And then they go out with like a full hard R movie.
Have you seen season 15?
Is it the newest?
Yeah.
No.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. They go to Ireland.
Oh, yeah. Oh, every season. Well, no, you don't have to. Every season's great. Like, that's the thing is, it's TV that shouldn't necessarily still exist, but gets to. You know, it's that South Park edginess, but it's also that like well written and well performed. And like, I'm sorry, but Charlie Day's in everything now.
Yes,
he's in every movie. You know, my problem with it is I can't unsee Charlie. I can't. I've told people this when he's playing, like he was in this movie like Hotel Artemis where he was like a hitman.
Yeah.
I'm super sorry, dude. I think you're awesome and I think you're hilarious, but you like holding a gun and mugging tough did not work for me.
Whereas him in School Fight,
was perfect casting.
That was perfect.
That was a remake of 3 O'Clock High. No one knows that. That movie.
That's such a good movie.
3 O'Clock High. Dude, I got picked on when I was young. 3 O'Clock High was that fucking movie.
Yep.
And it was a remake with Ice Cube perfectly cast as well.
Yep.
But that's what I'm saying. If you get them in the right things, it's funny when I see them and shit. I like It's Always Sunny so much that I react like I'm seeing someone I know. I'm like, yo, that's Charlie. That's Charlie. They're like, relax, dude. We know who it is.
And honestly, one of my favorite things about It's Always Sunny is you can jump in anywhere.
Oh, you don't
have to watch it sequentially.
You should, because there are callbacks, but you could jump in tomorrow.
You could just jump in anywhere.
And there are the references to that show I think about all the time. Like a stupid throwaway line, okay? That hamburger store line.
Yeah.
Remember? Charlie's like, did you get it? And for some reason, Mac just, and this wasn't in the script. He's like, if you wanted pickles at the hamburger store. But he keeps calling it a hamburger store. That's not a thing. But so I think about the hamburger store all the time in my head. You know what I mean? Because it's such an inane, like, Mac just thought of something funny and went with it, and it worked.
How about the fact that we went through like two seasons where Mac was fat?
That he genuinely... No, you know the real story. They were all supposed to get fat. You didn't know? Yeah, the real story is they all agreed before they went on break for the season where Mac came back fat, that the punchline for the next season was that they were going to all be fat. None of them thought anyone would do it. Mac did it. Literally, Mac. But by the way, it's really easy to convert muscle to fat and fat back to muscle.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say easy. That's a fucking lie. It's a lot easier than it is to just get fat.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm just lazy as fuck. So.
Oh, I got a ripped body under here, bro. But yeah, no, that was remarkable. Like that's I'm sorry, but like that's dedication to your craft.
Yeah.
Like he was fat, and the punchline and those 2 seasons was him always eating a hoagie and always fucking eating. And it's like me as a bigger guy, I was like, bro, don't come over to this side. It's not good. You'll never. But then, of course, he got even better shape.
And then I know it doesn't culminate with the high school reunion episode, but then when they're envisioning how they're performing on the stage, how they actually are, he's like there with his shirt open,
just slovenly.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's selling the bit, dude.
When you think they can't do anything more deplorable,
after season 5, I'm like, they're done.
They find a way. Like their cousin, who they call the slug, and Charlie just throws salt at her to make her go away.
Like that's the thing is it's so like, yeah, it's the worst aspects. It's the worst aspects of life. But guess what? We can laugh at this stuff.
Yes.
It's real.
Yep.
And they're satire. It's no different than like the Naked Gun being over the top. You know, yeah. They admit that. But yeah, there's a reason it's one of the longest running sitcoms, non-animated sitcoms in the world, and it's just they haven't had that boring season yet.
No,
where you're like they need to stop. You know what I mean?
They've had moments. They've had moments where the momentum kind of dips a little bit, and then they just get it right back. Yeah,
yeah. And I think that my thing to say about that is, imagine writing a show for 13 years, 14, 15 years. How hard that would be.
Yes,
to still come up with new ideas. Like, of course, The Simpsons can. They're animated. They're not limited to regular budgets and regular things. But yeah, and I'm going to be honest too. Comedy's changed. I don't laugh at a lot anymore.
I don't either.
There's not a lot of funny shit out. Movies. I can't remember the last comedy movie I saw. I can't remember the last thing that really like made me laugh. But It's Always Sunny still hasn't, man.
Yep. And then for me, it's because things that make me laugh is when comedy is subtle, and then the characters can build upon it and just make it even funnier. And I'll go back to The Night Man Cometh. So when they're practicing, when they're doing the rehearsals, and Mac and Dennis are talking to Charlie, and they're like, all right, now we want to go over this, and we want to alter it this way because we really want to handle the rape scene sensitively. And Charlie's like, what do you mean a rape scene?
Because he doesn't see it as what it is.
He doesn't see it like that.
Yeah.
And they're just like, but he clearly gets in bed and he rapes and
Charlie's just like, that is not the story I'm telling, but it is because his uncle, you know. And I'm sorry to say this, like pedophilia is one of my biggest triggers, and it just I'm laughing because the uncle. The guy who plays the uncle, who's also the lawyer, is, bro, I get upset at how fucking funny he is.
Yeah.
Like, because part of me in my brain is like, no.
He's evil. He's despicable.
Bro, and he's like always like me and Charlie can have a sleepover and do the things we used to do. And it makes your skin crawl. But listen, don't get offended because Charlie advocates for himself in those scenes. Mm-hmm. People who are victims don't. Charlie was truly a victim, and the show wanted to be depraved. They would have it happen again or something. No, every time he's like, I need you to stay away from me. And like, so it's dealt with, believe it or not, fairly sensitively, you know? And also,
what is it and what is out. What? Let's out a passionate shout. It's the night, man.
But imagine, sorry, Bob's having a moment. But imagine being like choosing to be that actor. And let me explain. The actor who plays that character. You're going to be out in public and people's brains don't always understand to separate it.
I think what you're saying is if people were to see Charlie Day out in public, they're seeing Charlie Kelly, an illiterate, simple man who huffs paint.
Well, no, even I'm talking about the uncle though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the uncle too. But I just totally went like Charlie there. Or people see any take a character. Take Dennis. People.
Well, no, I don't.
Like that.
Let me bring it back.
But let's go back to Jack Kelly.
But like the main thing I'm saying is like, yeah, you're always going to see it. But like, yeah, you can be seen as that. But imagine having the balls to play a fucking pedophile.
Yep.
My point is, someone's going to be on a bus one day and look back and see him, and they're going to be like, "Oh, that's that pedophile," because your brain doesn't like. Yep. I always think actors who take
that's Jack Kelly, the pedophile attorney.
Yeah, let's beat the shit out of him, you know. And I always think actors who do that, as much as he knows he's playing a funny character, it's just
it's a risk.
Man. Yeah, it is.
It's some of them are calculated risks, and some of them are risks.
That one waiter who just keeps showing up, they keep ruining his life.
Yeah.
See, it's hard because for me, it's now I just want to go home and binge. I want to binge season 15 tonight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I won't ruin it for you.
No, don't. Please
do. Please do. Please do go see that.
Oh, and they turned black. Can we just talk about that?
That was season 14?
14, I believe.
Yeah. That was the first episode of season 14, right?
Bro, like, they, like, what? How?
And they basically think that they just are there to recreate The Wiz.
The Wiz, dude. Which is a movie my parents raised me on. So, like, to see those bits, and I'm sorry, man. Watch the episode. People will get mad at the start, without realizing where it ends.
Yeah, you're right.
It has another powerful message. You have to get to it. Because I remember when I first saw that episode and saw them walking down the street. What does it mean? What does it mean? I remember being like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't, like me, someone who's pretty shocking, man. Someone who's lost about 800 writing jobs because I write fairly shocking shit is shocked that stuff they get away with. But then the way they circle it back.
Over the course of the whole series, that's something they've really perfected. They still do the deplorable, but then they can bring it back around to a great message.
And here's the thing, that the way they get away with it, every time something's really messed up, at least one of the characters is the moral voice for that. Mm-hmm. They're like, whoa, we just went way too far. Yeah. You know? But yeah, I'm sorry, but comedy television is pretty much dead. It is. You can say what you want, but it's just you have shows that make you laugh. I don't have comedy shows I watch because it's just there's not a world for that anymore.
You're right.
But It's Always Sunny. Every time a season drops, I'm like, all right, you guys know it. You won't find me for the next few days while I catch up, you know? And I have to say, I seriously commend artists and writers and comedians who still have the balls to joke about shit that makes people uncomfortable.
Yes.
We need to be able to laugh at things so that they don't completely have power over us.
Yep. And so on that note, thank you, Dave Chappelle.
Oh.
For just not backing down. Taking having a take, taking a stance, and not backing down.
Yeah, it was one. I mean, a lot of people don't realize like how brave and powerful that moment was, and he knew. He's like, "Yo, I got to leave this country. I got to leave the country because they're going to bastardize me."
That too. But even him now.
Oh yeah, he's making the jokes he wants to make.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
Listen,
that's
man,
great.
I'm fat and weird and got diddled as a kid. Joke about what you want with me. Don't disrespect me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, comedians aren't disrespecting you. They're joking about something that's taboo and weird because by laughing at shit, again, it can't control us. It can't put dominion in.
It normalizes it in a safe way, and it gets it a part of the conversations.
And it minimizes its power.
Yes.
That's key.
And what it does, everybody, is when I say it gets it a part of the conversation, it makes it it's a safe avenue. It plants the seed to talk about things, and now we just have people in their feelings who don't want.
Yeah, and if they don't agree with something, it's cancellation immediately. Yep. And I just have to say, the fact that show still exists
is fantastic.
It's phenomenal. It shouldn't, but those guys are brave, they're edgy, but underneath everything they do, there's heart. There is.
Yep.
Frank loves Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
They have a weird relationship, but they love each other.
Yep.
You know? What is it called? What's that thing with the play earthworms or something?
Yeah.
Bedworms?
Night crawlers?
Yeah, night crawlers. Yeah. There's all these elements where you're like, this might not be okay, but it's innocent. Yep. They're just like two special needs kids who became best friends.
Yep.
You know, Dennis is scary, but they don't hide that. They don't say, hey, Dennis is good. I'm pretty sure that show's going to end with Dennis just fully like getting arrested and proving that he was like the something strangler. You know what I mean? But remember, at the heart of it too, and I think there's going to be, I want to see Dee's redemption.
Yeah.
Because she deserves one, because she's the bird lady and she's just constantly. So I feel like if it ends but don't forget, Dee's had like suitors who are nice. She wants nothing to do with nice.
I know, the military guy.
Yeah.
Or cricket.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he initially was like,
he left the congregation because he got the vibe that she wanted to be with him, and then her response is, "Oh, you see, that's because I thought you were unavailable, and now that you are, I don't want you."
But I'm sorry, that's an honest dynamic. I'm dating right now, man.
Yeah.
How I would get more laid right now than I am as a single person is have a girlfriend. That's just it.
So if there's anything we can leave this episode with, and I know halfway through, I think, I mean, you would mention like we're kind of coming across as fanboys. What I think we did is we turned it around in a sense of we just encapsulated all the themes and all the areas they talk about that are real.
Yeah.
They're real themes that all of us deal with in some aspect or another. And I think that there's a large sector of our greater society that just, when they see that, they get cognitive dissonance. They don't know what to do with that. So
Can't process it.
They go on the attack. Why are you ruining my fan? I'm tired of that. And I know we said we weren't going to go political, but that's
no. We're allowed to have opinions, though. Yeah, no, and it's And the other thing I have to think is like, imagine maybe some closeted tough guy, kind of related to the Matt character, and then by season 13. He felt the comfort to talk to his friends or his family. Like we're not undermining that. Like, I think that happens in the wake of things like that.
Yeah.
And I think the Black crossover episode would be a great conversation piece to get people in a room of all races to talk about afterward. Like, how did you feel about that? Yeah. Did you think that was tacky? Did you think that was, but I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I do too.
Let's talk about this shit.
Yeah. And then you know what? It's done in the form of comedy. And I love comedy.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's great.
That was Jerry Lewis's thing a lot, the weird kind of darker stuff that but like comedy is meant to put something under a microscope and make it so at least you can talk about it.
Yeah. And so, you know what? We're going to jump off with that and leave it up to you guys. And if you guys have any kind of feedback or anything, as always, you can reach out to us on the website or get us our contact information and reach out to us individually.
Yeah, hit me up on socials, man.
Yep. But until the next time, everybody, thank you for stopping by, and we hope you stop by for the next one.
It's always sunny on Selenium.